Compassion is a wonderful word for them. I think about how gold melts and how it pours out. And that's what they've done. They've blessed all mankind with their gold.
They were really a driving force in such a subtle, quiet way, almost like the West Texas wind. Sometimes you notice it, sometimes you don't. But they did so much good of every organization, every person they touched. So I think that's why they were really, and he still is, and certainly Mary Louise and Heaven are still angels among us.
To whom much is given, much is required. But they wanted to be required of them. That's something that's unique, is that it was truly in the depths of the wellsprings of their hearts. It was who they were.
My dad always used to say, you know, if you find yourself having more than you need for you and your family, then you've been blessed. It's your obligation to better Christ's kingdom and help others. That's maybe why you have that extra blanket or extra coat.
You know, I run into people that I don't really know, and they'll tell me at the bank or whatever, and they'll say, you know, your mom and dad is real special to me. And I just, you know, I don't know all those stories, but it's just what they were, how they were sort of made, I guess, or part of their personality.
Mary Louise it was that quiet determination. When she saw something that she wanted, whether it was a way to help, for her to help the food bank, or to help the dehydration plant, she saw that land, she knew she had that land, and she decided she was going to give it to the food bank. And Bill, one of the stories was that Bill said, you know, there's a little part of that frontage that probably has a little bit of more value. Don't you think maybe we'll keep that little bit of that frontage, and then the rest of it we can give to the food bank? And she wouldn't have any part of it. She said, absolutely not. It is all going to the food bank. And I think that I see that with Mary Louise, her determination to do something for Women's Protective Services. She did, no matter, even toward the very end of her life, I heard her say so many times, remember the women and children of Women's Protective Services, because there are now more people, women and children in the agency than ever in the history of the agency. You know, she was being cared for in a facility, and there were stacks of towels, the laundry day. And she would tell the women who worked in there, you need to give those towels to Women's Protective Services. You have too many. Or she'd look in my closet and say, you need to get rid of all those clothes. You need to give those clothes to Women's Protective Services. You don't need all those things. So there was a determination her entire life. Bill is a salesman. He is an extraordinary salesman. And when he believes in something, he can sell it. And that's exactly what I see Bill doing for Women's Protective Services. This is a great project, and I'm going to give everything I can to it, and I expect you to do the same. And that is that selling. I saw him do that. I was on the board of Breedlove, and I saw Bill do that so many times. He's really an amazing man, but he has a big heart. Both of them had big hearts.
When I first met him, he said, I've given most of my money away, but I think I still have enough left for us to have fun. Isn't that cute? He is just so caring. He gets stacks and stacks and stacks of mail from people soliciting his help. He reads all of them. And he'll have a stack that he wants to give money to. And I say, honey, you can't save all the children in the world. But he says, when I became a Christian, that's how I can show God that I love him, by helping the less fortunate. He's amazing. And he's fun, he's funny, he's got a great sense of humor, and he considers every day a gift.
Well, some people think their house is a home. And some people think their city is their home. And I think that Bill moved from room to room to see if he couldn't straighten it up a little bit. Bill was not a person that marched in a parade and proclaimed, "I'm a Christian, let me grab you by the neck and save you." That was not his method. His method was to buy in to all of these different things that touched the very need, the very heart of those that were hurting. That's Bill Kingsbery. He was not one, and you know, he probably not going to be very happy about a lot of this communication about him, because he never blew his own horn a whole lot. I think it's time it's blown, and I'm glad y'all are doing it. But I think that everything that he did was generated from a heart of thanksgiving for who he was and what he could do. You know, you have to be thankful for who you are before you can really help somebody else.
We don't know how many people he helped, because he did never tell. It was a big secret, and that's really somebody that cares.
But he would say, "I have been blessed with the gift of making money, of resources, financial resources. So it is my responsibility to give to God my gifts." And he did.
And when he came back from World War II, as you may know, he was a fighter pilot, and then had the accident with the glider. And one of my favorite stories is that while he was lying in the hospital bed, and people surrounded him, his family, doctors, etc., one of the doctors said, "Well, I'm really hoping and praying that he'll make it through the night." Said it's really touch and go. And Bill heard him. And Bill thought to himself, "You don't know me very well, I'll make it."
I think that anytime you have some type of traumatic experience, and that definitely was, I think he felt so fortunate to still be on this earth, and what can I do while I'm on this earth to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to live a long life that's full of goodness, and when I leave this world I will feel good about what I've done. And I think sometimes a tragedy, it maybe makes us more grateful, more thankful.
I had no idea that Bill only had one leg. When I was a little kid, I had taken swim lessons. Still was a little bit unsure about the water, so we were at the Kingsberys. They lived in the house on 19th and Slide, had a pool in the backyard. And Bill said, "Come on, we're gonna go for a swim." I was a little nervous about that. And he pulled up his pants and he said, "If I can do this with one leg, you can do it with two." And we got in the water and he swam alongside me, and that was all I needed to get that boost of confidence. I was really enamored with Mary Louise, and she was so elegant and so poised. And she gave me a little speech about, you know, really beauty is skin deep, and that it's really your actions that make a difference in who you are. Certainly you saw that in what she did. She was passionate about what she did for Women's Protective Services. Every opportunity at Second Baptist Church she got to get people's travel size shampoos and lotions, she wanted to gather those up to share with women who had left in the middle of the night, and she told that story. She very much was about character, she and Bill both, and that your actions really precede her outstanding beauty, but it was really more about what was on the inside.
There's a moment in time I remember with Bill. We were working on some programs and consistently asking why? Why not? Why couldn't we? How could we do this? How could we do things better? And so when we think about how we do food aid at Breedlove, how we do food aid from the U.S., Bill and Mary Louise, they were innovators in their thought and how this could be done better. To help more people.
He gave me this little pen light once. I use it in my sock drawer. I see it every morning. And written on the barrel of this is the distinctive factor for Bill: my attitude is my life. The man had He had some tough times. Through 30 years of knowing him, I've seen him walk through some very happy times in his life and very, very difficult times in his life. But the way he approached every single trial or joy was the same. He was steady. He is steady Eddie, as far as I'm concerned.
The right word at the right time is the most powerful force known to mankind. And he just had this powerful way of giving the right word at the right time, and he could speak with such authority. And I think that that came out of the lives of the Kingsberys.
You know, that's correct. I mean, looking at a list of past recipients, you know, I think humility is a characteristic that is common among all of them. And we all give for different reasons, we have different passions, but I think underneath it all is just a sense of humility, a sense of you know, this is really not my money or my gifts, I just am a pass-through for what I've received, and I want to share this in our community. And you know, it's you know, with Breed Love and with the food bank, you know, it's amazing how many lives these organizations touch. And you know, Bill and Mary Louise won't know those people, but you know, they've touched literally hundreds of thousands of people, not only here in Lubbock and the 20 counties we serve, but also through Breed Love. I mean, they've reached people throughout the world just because they had a vision and a generous heart.